Heartwarming encounter, billionaire discovers incredible life-changing lesson from homeless girl. The room sparkled with crystal chandeliers and laughter flowed like the finest champagne. Alex Thompson, the self-made billionaire, stood at the center of attention, applause echoing like thunder. Yet, as he accepted accolades for his generous donation, a hollow ache sank deep within him. The vibrant chatter faded into the background, drowning out the voice that whispered the truth. Despite his stack of riches, he felt painfully alone. The glitz of the charity gala surrounded him, but inside, he was an island, separated from authentic human connection. As the applause faded and the night wore on, he slipped out into the cool Chicago air, in search of some elusive peace. Heart racing, he wandered the streets where neon lights danced against the darkness. That's when he saw her. Beneath the flickering streetlights, a sprightly girl, no more than 10, giggled as she painted vivid dreams with nothing but her words. "One day, I'll fill the world with colors," she proclaimed, eyes sparkling with the resilience of someone who already faced too much. Her name was Lily, and she lived in a cardboard shanty with her ailing mother. Why, he found himself asking. Why are you so happy? Lily paused, her laughter spilling over like a melody. Because happy is a choice. My dreams can't wait. Her spirit grabbed hold of Alex's heart, tightening around him like a warm embrace. They met under the looming skyscrapers again and again, sharing stories that transcended the wealth disparity that separated their worlds. As their friendship grew, so too did the bureaucratic walls around Lily's life. Alex felt his chest tighten when he heard that her mother had collapsed one night, illness pulling Lily deeper into a reality painted in struggle. He was blindsided by frustration when he encountered a maze of red tape as he reached out to agencies, faced with bias that bracketed the vulnerable while favoring the privileged. Here he was, a billionaire, and yet he felt powerless. In a burst of determination, Alex organized a high-profile fundraiser, pulling together the very elite who typically turned a blind eye to lives like Lily's. But as the night progressed, his heart sank. Donations flew in, but the depth of Lily's needs could not be met with mere money. Could a check truly fix broken lives, or was it just a band-aid over a festering wound? Confrontation sliced through the air when community advocates held a powerful discussion, revealing his naive perspective on charity and systemic inequality. You think money fixes problems? One woman challenged, voice sharp as glass. It's not that simple. Alex's mind whirled. Had he truly overlooked the individual needs that connected humans to one another? Confusion flooded him as he stood at the intersection of privilege and empathy. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With every beat of his heart, he felt the weight of the world around him shift. He needed to understand more than just the numbers. Would he embrace the complexities or shrink back into a life driven by societal expectations? As he stood in the echoing silence, longing to reconnect with Lily, the fate of their bond bubbled in uncertainty. Would he muster the courage to challenge a system designed to divide? They would soon meet again, but would he be ready to face the truth? The days rolled on, and Alex found himself lost in a tangle of thoughts more complicated than any business deal he had ever navigated. Each morning brought the same restlessness. He flipped through piles of reports, but the numbers on his screen blurred together, without meaning. His eyes would drift to the window, searching for the flicker of a red jacket against the gray streets, the bright flash that had come to symbolize hope. He finally leaned into the discomfort. He needed to know more about the world where Lily thrived amid chaos. Perhaps understanding could guide him toward meaningful change. He set out, leaving the opulence of his office behind. The chilly air stroked his skin as he walked, every step weighing heavier with purpose. Reaching the alley near her shelter was like returning to a memory. The cardboard shanties leaned together like weary friends, sharing secrets only the grime of the city understood. He knelt, peeking inside one of the makeshift homes. Inside, Lily sat drawing, the vibrant colors of her crayon melting into the muted backdrop of her surroundings. She looked up, her expression brightening the dullness around her. "Alex!" she called, launching from her stool and rushing into his arms. The warm hug felt like a reprieve from the chaos of his life. He breathed in her presence, a fresh air in his world. But as she stepped back, her smile faded slightly, eyes darting to the ground. "What's wrong?" he asked gently. Lily fidgeted, tugging at her shirt. "Mom's not feeling well again. She says she's tired, but I tell her to paint with me. I think it makes her happy," she replied, voice trembling with worry. Alex felt his heart constrict. He wanted so badly to fix everything for her, to banish her fears with the snap of his fingers. "What can I do?" Lily took a deep breath, then raised her head, her determination shining like sunlight. "You could help us find a place, a real one where we can paint all day. But don't tell Mom yet. I want it to be a surprise." The thought of giving Lily a safe home filled him with new resolve. He wasn't playing a waiting game anymore. He would gather information, find housing resources, access healthcare for her mother. But the warmth of determination was rapidly overshadowed by doubt. Would a mere roof address the deeper issues? Alex knew all too well that kindness was not a substitute for strength. He needed to confront both Lily's reality and his own privilege. As he left, Alex noticed a group of volunteers distributing meals just a block away. He hesitated, a wave of hesitation washing over him. Should he join them? Each passing second felt like an eternity, hollow and unfulfilled. Finally, he pushed the doubt aside and walked over, meeting their welcoming smiles. Engaged in conversations, listening to stories of resilience, he began to realize something important. People doing this work didn't just want money, they craved partners in change, supporters willing to roll up their sleeves. And maybe, just maybe, he could be one of them. With renewed purpose swirling within him, he walked home, each step charged with possibilities he could barely fathom. But would he really be able to change the course of Lily's life? Would he have the courage to make deep changes like forming partnerships with the very community he had long overlooked? As he lay in bed that night, his mind danced between dreams of a bright future and fears of failure. He clenched his fists, longing for clarity. Silence loomed heavy over everything, but Alex knew he was on the brink of something life-changing. Just then, his phone buzzed. The screen lit up with an unknown number, but could it be a sign? What awaited him on the other end? Alex's heart raced as he stared at the screen. The unknown number seemed to pulse with possibility. He felt a tug of curiosity mixed with anxiety. What if it was just a telemarketer? Or worse, a reminder of the world he was trying to step away from. Taking a deep breath, he pressed the button to answer. "Hello." His voice came out steadier than he felt. "Alex. It's Grace," came the bright voice of a familiar charity director he had briefly met during his volunteer stint. "I hope I'm not catching you at a bad time." "Not at all. What is going on?" he asked, leaning forward, urgency wrapping around every word. "I just wanted to touch base after that meeting we had last week. We're organizing a community initiative next month, and I think you'd be a great fit," Grace said. "We're gathering people who want to make a difference, and I remember you mentioned Lily." His heart leaped. "Yes, Lily. I mean, I'd love to help. What do you need me to do?" Grace's enthusiasm was contagious. "We're looking for mentors and sponsors to lead workshops for the kids in the area. It's all about giving them skills and opportunities to express themselves through art like painting, music, and writing. I thought of you because you have that business mind and you want to make an impact." Her words struck a chord deep within him. This was it. This could be the answer to the question gnawing at him since his first meeting with Lily. It wasn't just about finding her a home, it was about providing her with a chance to spread her wings, to thrive in a supportive environment. "I'm in," Alex said, determination surging inside him. "Tell me what I need to do." "Wonderful. Let us meet up tomorrow to iron out the details. I'll send you the agenda." Grace continued, "And Alex, thank you for stepping up like this. We need more people with your passion." As they ended the call, his spirit soared. He could already envision a room filled with children and bright colors, laughter mixing with the smell of paints as they created their worlds. But at that moment, a shadow flickered across his mind. What if he couldn't bring his vision to life? What if the harsh realities of the world around them crushed the hope they would try to build? The room full of joy could easily become a fleeting dream. Still, he couldn't give in to fear. He thought of Lily, her wide eyes full of dreams, and vowed he would navigate the uncertainties ahead for her, for kids like her. The next day, he met with Grace in a cozy cafe buzzing with conversation. Over steaming cups of coffee, she laid out her vision. "This community needs a revolution, a creative one. But it starts with people willing to invest their time and energy. Think about it, how many like Lily are out there waiting for a chance?" With every sentence, his determination solidified. But just then, a couple walked in with a toddler, her red jacket flaring, reminiscent of Lily's exuberance. Every laugh from the toddler made Alex ache with desire to bring that same laughter and optimism to those he was beginning to care about. "How about you also connect with local businesses?" Grace suggested. "They could help sponsor supplies for the workshops." It was then the challenge hit him. Could he really create this partnership? Could he convince those businesses to step into a world so different from theirs? Through their conversation, the tiniest doubts started creeping in. Had his vision been too naive? And would he truly be able to make the kind of difference Lily deserved? As he walked home later, feelings swirled like leaves in the wind, excitement tangled with uncertainty. Alex glanced at his phone and froze. An email notification blinked in. It was from a prominent business owner he respected, a terrifying reminder of the complexities he would have to face. What if he wasn't up to the challenge? The screen flashed white against the dim night. Could this be the breaking point? He took a deep breath, wrestling against the rising tide of doubt. He had to push forward. There was no other choice. As a thought struck him, he wondered if he was ready for the wave of change that was about to crest over his life and theirs. But what if he didn't just build a workshop? What if he could inspire a movement? Tomorrow might just bring the answer. The next morning, the sun fought to break through a veil of gray clouds, casting a soft, muted light over the city. Alex stepped outside, the cool air biting at his cheeks, but the chill in the air couldn't dampen the fire ignited in his heart. Today's meeting was crucial. He felt it deep within him. As he approached the cafe, his excitement was tempered by the weight of anticipation. He had spent the night drafting emails, reaching out to businesses he thought might care. Each click of the send button felt like a leap of faith, and now he was left hanging in the silence that followed. The cafe buzzed with chatter, a comforting backdrop to his thoughts. Grace was already seated at their usual corner table, animatedly tapping away on her laptop. When she looked up and smiled, a wave of reassurance washed over him. "Good morning. I'm so glad you made it," she beamed, gesturing to 2 steaming mugs of coffee in front of her. "I ordered your favorite." "Thanks, Grace." He sank into a chair and took a moment to gather his thoughts before diving into the agenda. But instead, he blurted out, "What if this doesn't work?" Grace leaned in, her eyes fierce with conviction. "Why do you think that?" "I don't know. There are so many unknowns. What if the businesses don't want to help? What if we can't reach the kids? What if I fail?" He ran a hand through his hair, frustration bubbling up as he spoke. Grace took a breath, her voice steady. "What if you change just one child's life? What if that's enough? His heart thumped with her words. It wasn't about perfection, it was about impact, however small. He remembered Lily's bright smile, the hope that threaded through their brief encounters. Maybe that was what truly mattered. Okay, he nodded, feeling a spark rekindling inside him. Let's make a plan. I want to reach out to 5 businesses this week. If I can show them how this initiative can benefit everyone, not just the kids, but their brand as well, maybe I can get them on board. That's the spirit, she chuckled, clearly impressed. You're already making connections without even realizing it. This is going to resonate. Let's draft an outreach email together later. The feeling in the cafe shifted as they began discussing their strategies. Ideas bounced between them like bursts of fireworks, and soon, their coffee cups were empty, leaving behind only a warm glow of possibility. Just as Alex felt the momentum building, his phone buzzed again. He glanced down at the screen and the exhilaration in him stuttered. It was a reply positive, but an unanswered question lingered. His hands trembled slightly as he read it. I'm interested, but I need to know more about your vision, Alex. Let's meet. A director of a local firm he had always admired wanted to talk. Grace noticed his abrupt change in demeanor. What's wrong? I got a response back from one of the business contacts, but it feels too big, too important. What if I can't meet their expectations? Panic threatened to creep back in, but Grace placed a gentle hand on his arm. Then show them the truth, she urged softly. Your passion. Show them why this matters. They're looking for a reason to connect. Help them see it through your eyes. Her words calmed him like a soothing balm on an open wound. Maybe he didn't have to have everything figured out. Maybe all he needed was authenticity. As they wrapped up their meeting, Grace stood to leave and smiled brightly. Remember, Alex, every great movement starts with one simple step. You've already taken that step. Walking home later, Alex felt more empowered. He was nervous, sure, but he now realized he was chasing something deeper than just a project. It was about building hope in a world so often overshadowed by despair. When he got home, he sat at his desk again, ready to compose his response. He took a deep breath, fingers poised over the keyboard, when a thought stopped him cold. What if he could show this business owner what creativity can accomplish? What if he opened the door to a partnership that changed lives and perceptions? With sweat beading on his brow, he began to type. This was more than a job, it was a chance to ignite something beautiful. As the words flowed, a new email notification popped up, a message from Lily, her final words echoing in his mind, you can be the difference. Just try. Could he really bridge the gap between worlds? And if he succeeded, would others join him in that effort? Tomorrow would tell. The next day dawned clear and bright, a stark contrast to the storm of emotions swirling inside Alex. The excitement of his upcoming meeting sat heavily in his chest. He had replayed their previous conversation a dozen times, mentally preparing himself for every question that might arise. As he made his way to the cafe once more, the city bustled around him, people moving with assured purpose. Despite the vibrancy surrounding him, Alex felt like he was in slow motion, the world blurring in his periphery as his thoughts kept circling back to the meeting. Was he ready? Grace was waiting for him, her laptop already open, but she immediately sensed his tension. Hey! You good? She asked, her concern evident. Alex took a deep breath, trying to release some of the pressure building in his chest. I just keep thinking about what happens if I freeze up. What if I can't articulate my vision? Grace leaned back, tapping her fingers on the table as she considered his words. You know what? Just remember why you started this. If your passion is genuine, they'll feel it. Trust in that. Her words clung to him like a lifeline, offering the first bit of calm he had felt all morning. He took a sip of coffee, feeling the warmth seep through him. Okay. Breathe, he whispered to himself before launching into the details of their plan one more time. They went over the main points they wanted to convey: how the initiative would uplift the community, how it could potentially bring positive exposure to the businesses involved. With each passing moment, Alex felt clearer, more focused. He was beginning to believe in the power of his proposal. After their strategy session, Grace glanced at the clock. "You've got time to spare before the meeting. You should just go for a walk, clear your head." Reluctantly, Alex nodded. Fresh air would do him good. He stepped outside, soaking in the sun. The city felt alive, filled with stories waiting to unfold. While wandering through the park, he stumbled upon a group of kids playing soccer. Their laughter rang out, pure and unfiltered, and for a moment, he watched them like he had when he was younger, lost in a world where hope seemed limitless. It was then he remembered Lily again. How her resilience shone through despite her circumstances. He could hear her soft voice reminding him that each child had a story worth fighting for. In that vivid moment of clarity, something shifted inside him. Fueled by renewed purpose, he turned and decided to head to the meeting early. When he arrived, the firm's office took his breath away. Modern and sleek, it felt like a world apart from his own. Steeling himself, he walked inside, bravely standing by the receptionist who smiled as she directed him to the conference room. As he entered, the director stood, offering a handshake that was both firm and warm. "Alex, right? I've been looking forward to our chat." "Yeah, that's me," he said, trying but failing to suppress the tremble in his voice. They settled into their seats, and Alex's heart raced. As he began to speak, he pulled from the stories of the children he wanted to help, using their struggles and dreams as the foundation of his pitch. It was nerve-wracking, but with each word, he felt the walls of doubt around him start to crumble. When he finished, there was a brief silence. The director leaned forward, eyes sharp and engaged. "I have to admit, Alex, I didn't expect such passion. You've given me a lot to think about." Hope ignited within him. This could be a turning point. But before he could process this glimmer of possibility, the director continued, "I'd like to introduce you to a few people who can help turn your vision into reality." Just then, the door swung open, and a familiar face stepped in. It was Lily. "Alex?" she called out, her eyes wide. And in that instant, time froze. What does her sudden appearance mean? What impact will this have on Alex's vision? Alex's mind scrambled. Lily's presence sparked a storm of questions as he struggled to keep his composure. Did she even know he was here? What brought her to this building, at this moment? "Lily," he managed, his voice barely above a whisper. His heart raced as he searched her face for answers. The director shifted in his seat, curiosity piqued. "You two know each other?" "Yes," Alex replied, confusion mingling with excitement. "We met while I was volunteering." Lily stepped forward, glancing between Alex and the director, her expression a mix of determination and vulnerability. I wanted to see you," she admitted, her voice steady yet wavering. "Is everything okay?" Alex asked, the concern pouring out of him. She nodded, but the slight tremor in her hands didn't escape him. "I just need to talk to you. It's important." The director gestured to an empty chair at the table. "Please, take a seat. We one tea bite." Lily hesitated for just a moment before sitting down. Her presence shifted the energy in the room, a blend of hope and apprehension. Alex could feel his heart thumping louder as he tried to focus. He needed to grasp this moment, both for himself and for her. "Do you want to start, Lily?" he offered gently, encouraging her. She took a deep breath, the air filling her lungs as she composed herself. "I know you're pushing for this project, Alex. I saw the passion in your eyes when you talked about helping kids like me." Her gaze locked onto the director's. "But I've been thinking, what if the approach you're taking is just one piece of the puzzle?" Alex frowned, the weight of her words striking him. He had been so focused on the presentation, on what would impress them, that he hadn't considered what the community truly needed. "What do you mean?" "I mean there's more to these kids than their circumstances." Her voice gathered momentum. Some of them want to tell their own stories. Give them a platform. We're not just projects or statistics. We're people. Seeing his surprise, Lily continued. I spoke to some of the kids. They want to be heard. They want to be part of this initiative not just as beneficiaries but as co-creators. Silence enveloped the room, and even the director seemed taken aback. Alex's mind raced, processing the implications. Could they really flip the script? He felt a shift inside him, an aligning of purpose and passion. The director leaned forward, intrigued. That's an interesting perspective, Lily. His tone shifted, becoming more inquisitive. How would you suggest we implement this idea? I can help you connect with other kids, she said, her voice gaining strength. I'm not the only one with a story to tell. If you want this project to truly uplift the community, you need to involve them in the process. Alex glanced at Lily, admiration swelling within him. She was right. This wasn't just about him, it was about everyone who had been overlooked. The director nodded slowly, considering her words. I like this approach. It speaks to authenticity and engagement, two things we value. Suddenly, the room felt charged with potential. A plan was forming, one that could uplift not just the business community but also the spirited souls within it. Alex turned to Lily, a rush of gratitude flooding through him. Thank you. I wouldn't have thought about this without you. But before they could dive deeper into the conversation, Lily's phone buzzed, interrupting the moment. She glanced down, her expression shifting to one of concern. I have to take this. She stood to step outside, leaving Alex and the director behind. In that split second, he wondered if he had just witnessed the beginning of something transformative, not just for his proposal but for the children who deserved to be heard. What would happen if they not only collaborated with the community but also let their voices shine through? As he pondered, the door swung shut behind Lily, leaving him to contemplate her sudden appearances that seemed to upend his plans in the most unexpected ways. What new directions would this change set for their mission? And would Lily return with answers or even more questions? Alex sat back, his mind racing with the uncertainty that floated in Lily's abrupt exit. The weight of what had just happened settled heavily in the room. There was so much potential in Lily's words, the spark of collaboration, the idea that their project could be more than just another program. He felt the director's gaze on him, trying to read his reaction. You handled that well, the director said, leaning back in his chair with an approving nod. Most people wouldn't have reacted as thoughtfully as you just did. Alex forced a smile, but inside, he was wrestling with his emotions. I didn't expect to see her here clearly. The director's interest was piqued, and Alex wondered how much of his unease was visible on his face. Conversations like this one, especially about people whose lives had been snatched away by unfortunate circumstances, could easily turn personal. Then again, wasn't that the whole point? I guess I just need to think deeper, Alex admitted, running a hand through his hair. We've been designing this project in our bubble, focused on what we thought was right. But what she said, it makes sense. Too often, we forget that the key players are the ones living it every day, the director mused. We can only go so far without their input. Alex's heart stirred with a mix of determination and anxiety. What if they gave the kids their own voices? What if they crafted a new narrative together? It was exhilarating, like standing on the edge of something monumental. But then a gnawing doubt crept in. What if we fail? What if these kids don't want to share their stories? The director's eyes glinted with understanding. Every endeavor has risks, Alex. But taking that leap into the unknown might yield results beyond what you imagined. As they spoke, the door creaked open. Lily peeked back in, her expression tense yet resolute. I'm sorry for the interruption, she said, her hands clasped tight around her phone. There was an emergency at the shelter. One of the kids, the weight of her words hung in the air. It was more than a disruption, it was a reminder of the reality they were all trying to combat. The urgency in her tone snapped Alex's thoughts to focus. "Do you want to talk about it?" he asked, standing as he gestured toward the chair. Lily shook her head, frustration coloring her features. I don't know if I can, right now. But I came here because I believe we can do something that matters. What we talked about, it's crucial. More than ever." There was a fire behind her words that ignited Alex's spirit. They weren't just brainstorming for a presentation anymore, they were part of something bigger, something that could change lives. He could see the kids she spoke of heaving with untold stories, ready to demand their spotlight. Alex felt an overwhelming responsibility rise within him. Their project was suddenly not about his ambitions or accolades, it was about giving a platform to those who needed it most. "We won't just create a program, we'll co-create a movement," he declared, determination flooding his voice. Lily's face brightened just a little, the tension easing. "That's what I meant. We need to invite them in. Maybe a workshop. Let them express themselves before we present anything." The director smiled thoughtfully, clearly pleased with the direction this was taking. "I like that. Let us develop it together. If we take this seriously, we could really make a difference." Excitement rushed through Alex again, but it was mixed with a sense of dread. What were they really up against? Would they be able to connect with these kids on that level? As the three of them began to discuss new ideas, Alex's thoughts raced ahead in anticipation. Would they be prepared for the raw truths those kids might share? What would happen when they unveiled their project in front of the world? The moment felt like a cliffhanger, with possibilities exploding around them. With so many emotions swirling and uncertainty looming, Alex couldn't shake the feeling that everything was about to change forever. Was he ready to embrace the chaos that came with it? Would Lily's resolve be enough to push through the upcoming challenges? The next morning, Alex woke up with a knot in his stomach. It was as if the excitement from yesterday had morphed into a weight he couldn't shake off. Each thought about the workshop felt more like a hurdle than a leap. Doubts buzzed in his mind like angry wasps. What if they didn't connect? What if the kids didn't show up? And what if it was all for nothing? He made himself a strong cup of coffee, hoping it would fuel his determination. As he sat on his small balcony, the cool morning breeze swept through, the sun pouring its warm glow over the city skyline. In that moment, he closed his eyes and took a deep breath, trying to silence the noise inside. Images of the kids Lily had described floated into his mind. Their faces filled with laughter, tears, and everything in between reminded him of why this was important. He had to face the reality, no matter how uncomfortable it was. He was part of something meaningful now. They all were. He picked up his phone and typed a quick message to Lily. "Can we meet early to brainstorm more ideas for the workshop?" He hit send, lingering over the screen, wishing he could be certain she would share the same vision he had begun to develop overnight. Half an hour later, there was a knock on his door. It was Lily, her eyes bright and alive, the energy from the day before pulsing back into the room. She hadn't waited for his message, and he felt a spark of gratitude for her determination. "Hey. I know it's early, but I couldn't stop thinking about our discussion," she burst out, barely giving him a second before diving in. "I have a plan." "Really?" Alex's heart quickened, his previous nerves fading slightly. "What do you have in mind?" She handed him a notepad filled with scribbled ideas. "We start with storytelling. Bring in a few kids from the shelter. Let them share what they want to share. We can guide the discussion, ask the right questions, but above all, we listen." Alex flipped through the pages, impressed. She'd written prompts and activities, each aimed at unlocking that raw and authentic voice they all wanted to amplify. "This is amazing," he said, a smile creeping onto his face. "You really thought this through." "Thanks, but it's just the beginning. After the stories, we can have art supplies ready, something tangible for them to create with. Art can help them express feelings words can't," she said, her excitement infectious. "Art. That's brilliant, Alex exclaimed. We could even display them at an exhibition after the workshop. Give those kids a gallery to show their truth. Yes. A debut for their stories. Lily clapped her hands, a gleam in her eyes. Her enthusiasm was contagious, and Alex found himself wanting to ignite this even more. As they bounced ideas back and forth, a knot in his heart loosened. It felt less daunting now. They had a plan, a vision, and most importantly their intentions were genuine. He could feel a mission forming, one rooted in real change. Let us go to the shelter together, meet some kids, Lily suggested. Right now? Alex was taken aback, but there was a thrill in her challenge. Yes. What better way to connect with them while we still have momentum? He weighed her invitation against his lingering nerves. Could he really step out of his bubble that easily? But then he remembered, this was the point of it all. Okay, let us do it, he replied, adrenaline coursing through him. He grabbed his jacket, excitement replacing fear. As they made their way to the shelter, Alex couldn't ignore the flutter in his chest. Would this moment lead to breakthroughs, or would it crack open wounds they weren't ready to process? Stepping into the shelter, the air was heavy with a mix of hope and despair. Alex looked around, absorbing the vibrant yet heartbreaking reality of the place. He took a deep breath and whispered to Lily, "This is it, isn't it?" "Absolutely," she replied, her gaze steady on him. Just then, a soft voice pierced through the crowd. "Hey! You guys here to help?" Alex turned to see a small girl with wide eyes and an eager smile. Her presence felt like a light cutting through the heaviness surrounding them. "Yeah, we are," he replied, his heartbeat quickening anew. As their eyes met and the girl stepped closer, Alex felt the gravity of the moment. This was where their journey truly began. What stories would she tell? And would they be able to handle the power those stories carried? The little girl's name was Sophia, and her energy was as bright as the sun streaming through the shelter's cracked windows. Her smile lit up Alex's fears, if only for a moment, and he felt a wave of warmth rush through him. "Do you like stories?" she asked, bouncing slightly on the balls of her feet, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "Yeah, I love them. What about you?" Alex replied, kneeling down to her level. He could see the courage in her gaze, a mix of innocence and a deep well of experiences. "Oh, I have the best ones," she exclaimed, and Alex couldn't help but smile. The knot in his stomach started to fade. "Really? Like what?" he encouraged, his heart racing as he leaned in, ready to listen. Sophia took a breath, her small hands clenching and unclenching as if she were weighing the importance of her words. "Like the time I caught a butterfly and released it in the park. Or the time I climbed the tallest tree," and she paused, her cheeks flushing pink. Air fell down. But not too hard. At that moment, Alex felt something shift inside him. This was it. Pure storytelling, the kind that spoke of both triumph and failure. Sophia's voice, filled with joy and slight embarrassment, was a reminder that everyone had moments of success and failure, no matter their background. "Wow, that sounds amazing," Alex said to her with sincere enthusiasm. "You're so brave for climbing that tree. I bet it was really tall." Lily, standing close by, was already scribbling notes, capturing Sophia's spirit. She glanced at Alex, her eyes wide with excitement. "This is exactly what we need. Kids willing to share their truths, no filter. It's powerful. I want to tell my story," Sophia said, her eyes bright. "I want everyone to know about the butterfly." It felt free. Alex realized he felt a strange chill run down his back, almost like an unrecognizable emotion bubbling beneath the surface. It was pride. This little girl was reaching out into the world with her truth. Without giving it much thought, he picked up a small notepad from a nearby table. "How about you tell me your story and I'll write it down? We can make a book together. Your adventures, your ideas." People will read them. Her eyes widened, full of wonder. A book? For real? Yes, for real. He replied, feeling the electric connection between them grow. And then, once we have a few stories, we can have a big party to celebrate all the creativity. Sophia squealed with glee, and for an instant, all the fears that had weighed on Alex all morning fell away. This little girl was changing everything. Can I draw pictures too? She asked, bouncing on her toes. Of course. We'll need all the colors and all the drawings. While they chatted, a couple of other kids, noticing the commotion, drifted over. Alex felt their eyes on him, hungry for attention and connection. Can we be in the book too? Another boy asked, stepping forward. Absolutely. Alex smiled, suddenly realizing how this small moment was growing. All of you can. With every new face that joined in, Alex felt his earlier doubts erode. Each child represented a story waiting to be told. They were the heart of this workshop, and he knew he was right in the middle of something remarkable. As they began to gather supplies, Sophia leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a whisper. You promise we'll have a book, right? Like my own. Absolutely, Alex reassured her, his own heart beating with certainty. But as the excitement swirled, that chill crept back in, leaving him with a nagging question. Were they ready to truly listen? To embrace the depths of these children's stories? In the quiet corners of his mind, uncertainty loomed again. Would the truth unearth memories they all wished to leave buried? Just as Alex mulled this over, Lily caught his eye, and in that moment, he sighed deeply, realizing they still had a long way to go. The power of a story might not come easily, it could shake their very foundations. And as Sophia began to share her tales, Alex felt the gravity of responsibility settle on his shoulders, heavy, yet exhilarating. What would it mean to give these kids a voice? Would they all uncover truths they weren't yet prepared to face? As Sophia animatedly recounted her adventures, Alex watched her, a mix of wonder and trepidation swirling within him. Her enthusiasm was infectious, echoing the hopes he had buried beneath layers of doubt. This was more than just a chance to listen, it was about fostering trust, about weaving bonds that transcended their circumstances. The other children gathered around, their curiosity piqued. Giggling and whispering among themselves, they began to share fragments of their stories, each moment crackling with the electricity of vulnerability. Alex felt himself leaning in, heart racing, as he scribbled away. The weight of his earlier fears faded with every shared laugh, every flicker of the bright eyes around him. I have a story about my dog. Another girl chimed in. He can jump higher than any other dog in the world. Alex facilitated their storytelling, encouraging them to express their epic tales. Their laughter felt like the sun breaking through the clouds, warm, bright, and alive. As the stories flowed, Alex noticed Lily's eyes shining, too. They exchanged proud glances, a silent acknowledgement of their journey. But in the busyness of the moment, the underlying weight of responsibility crept back. What if they get hurt? The thought nagged at him. What if their stories unveil wounds better left untouched? Yet, as Sophia shared her moment of triumph from tree climbing, he couldn't help but see these revelations as gateways rather than barriers. The truth could be painful, yes, but each story was also a testament of strength. This moment was an invitation to heal. Let us take breaks between stories, Lily suggested wisely. We don't want to overwhelm anyone. Alex nodded, impressed by her insightful approach. They rotated between storytelling and drawing, allowing time for the children to reflect. With every pause, he could see their faces communicate unspoken fears, joys, and dreams, moments of silent understanding weaving an invisible thread between them. By the end of the day, the kids were scattered across the room, colored pencils at hand, mapping out their lives in vibrant hues. Alex felt something supernatural surge through him. They were reclaiming their narratives, something larger than a book. This was a movement of sorts, a collective rise against the chaos that once defined them. As the sun dipped low in the sky, spilling warm tones across the shelter's walls, Alex took a moment to breathe deeply. Around him, stories sprang to life and floated, flickering and shimmering like stars just coming into being. "Look! I made a rainbow!" Sophia exclaimed, holding up her piece of art, an explosion of colors against a backdrop of gray. "It's South, my happy place. Can you tell us about it?" Alex asked, engrossed by the contagious enthusiasm in her eyes. Sophia took a moment, then began speaking passionately about a secret spot in the park, where wildflowers danced in the breeze. Everyone listened attentively, their hearts swelling with pride as they saw her joy manifest through every stroke of her crayon. "Yes. That's the spirit," Lily chimed in, her own voice shining with warmth. In that hour of laughter and connection, Alex could slowly feel the weight of systemic issues hovering over them lift. They weren't just seeking gifts, they were giving something invaluable in return, their authentic selves, courage unfurling like a flag in the wind. The children wrapped up for the day, each with notebooks filled with stories, and an unfinished masterpiece that cried for completion. The radiant energy in the room held a flicker of hope, a spark of what could become. Alex glanced over at Lily, her smile illuminating the space. "Thank you," he whispered, his heart full. "You were right. This is only the beginning." As they left the shelter, the cool evening air embraced them like an old friend. The chatter of the neighborhood filled the night, but in their hearts, there remained an unwavering silence of anticipation and potential. Each day would bring challenges, but today had revealed a beautiful truth: they were not on this journey alone. They had each other, and they were intertwining stories that needed to be told. Days turned into weeks as the workshop blossomed and gained momentum. The connections formed were undeniable. Alex felt elation amidst the uncertainty and the struggle. They were building something deep and profound. Whether the world would recognize it or not, he felt it in his bones. On one particular day, Alex stood before a group of business owners, alongside Lily and the children. Their art was arranged on the walls, colors splashing against a stark white canvas, vibrant and unapologetic. "Today, these kids are not just showcasing their art," he spoke passionately, his voice resonating in the hushed room. "They are sharing their stories, our stories. They have the power to transform the narrative. They've shown us that we must have the courage to listen to their voices and trust them. Together, we can all create a more inclusive community." Tears glistened in the corners of many eyes as stories flowed through the room, rich and beautiful. In that moment, as laughter poured over the barriers that once seemed insurmountable, the children's voices rang clear, full of hope. Alex locked eyes with Lily, his heart swelling with gratitude for the radiant spark she had ignited. They had faced the unknown together and emerged standing tall. As the final applause erupted, Alex felt a cascade of emotions, a brilliant wave of joy, resolve, and an absolute connection to a broader purpose, the beautiful chaos of community embracing him fully. Their journey wasn't perfect, and neither was its outcome, but what they built together was real, solid, and imbued with a truth worth fighting for. And as they left the gallery that day, hand in hand, each child filled with pride, Alex knew this was just the beginning. It was a dawn of a new beginning, a path of joy and hope unfurling before them all. You need to subscribe now to be part of the movement that's just begun. This is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these stories alive. Comment your reactions and feelings about this incredible ending. And don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your support matters.